This is our Proud to Partner session, where channel partners will share their experiences with transformation success. So I'd like to introduce Don Stewart, who's the Vice President and General Manager of NEC Canada. Don will introduce our channel partners and moderate the session. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Don Stewart.
Nice, we're all in order. So, I was pretty excited when I was asked to host the partner segment, because this is a kind of event that you folks have been asking for, and it's real experiences of system integrators such as yourself. So, in support of the theme, exchange, transform, and experience, we've asked these partners to share some of their successes that they've had, and how they transformed themselves and how they transformed their customers to get to the next level. So how this is going to work. I'm going to introduce the partners here today, and then they're going to give you a short profile of their organization, and then we're going to go from there. So we've got Guyette Communications, ServiceMark, Telecom, Matrix Communications, and Magna 5. Guys, thanks for joining us up here. I appreciate that. So going to move right ahead. And we're going to get into a short profile of Guyette. They were founded in 1947. It's crazy to think about that. They've been a partner of ours for 27 years, an exclusive partner and a double diamond partner, and they work in the northeastern Pennsylvania region. So George is going to give us a talk about their organization. He's an application engineer with their company.
Thank you. No pressure, I'm first.
No.
So, as I was sitting in the audience here, listening to the theme of this whole Advantage this year, it was all about transformation. And NEC put up the slide of some of us that have been doing this for a long, long time. And that was really nice, NEC, to recognize us. But I realized that there's a whole bunch of companies just like ours out there. And I wanted to talk about that transformation. And the ones of us that have been in business for many, many, many years realized that we had to transform or we wouldn't be here today. So this is just another evolution of that transformation. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about us, give you a very brief history. I don't want to bore you with details. And then talk about what we're doing today and how we've transformed. So as you see, the company was founded in 1947. Way back then, we sold radios and TVs. We were in retail. We were in the retail market selling that. Mr. Guyette decided that, he needed to evolve. Things needed to change. So we jumped into the commercial market. We sold nurse call systems, school intercom systems, and things like that. That was way back in the mid-1950s. So like many of you then jumped into the phone market in the early 70s. And here we are today, still doing this, but ever evolving, ever changing. So today, pretty much on the NEC side, this is what we're selling. We're selling the UCaaS, the UniVerge Blue, the hosted, and that includes 9100 Blue, that includes SIP trunks, that includes that whole portfolio of items. ITs, the servers, that's new for us. We jumped into that looking for storage for our CCTV products. So this year, 2017 into 2018, your fiscal year, was about the first time that we jumped into that IT arena as far as servers. We have to tell you, they're great servers. They do a great job. They're very effectively priced, especially on the larger storage end, and it works well for us. So obviously we're in CCTV, access control. We picked up the Indigo Care nurse call that you offer. We still sell our other nurse call products. We're still in the school market, and we do some voice data cabling. So NEC sent the slide off to us, and we were quite surprised. We didn't know that was the percentages of our business. But if you look at it, basically 25% of our business now comes from not telephone systems, not UC. And that was very telling to us. The president of our company, Mary Beth Guyette, really, that caught her off guard a bit. So it's just a neat little slide to show you how we've moved and how we've changed. Then I wanted to go over just a recent win and how we applied these different technologies to that. We had a skilled nursing facility. They had an existing Aspire system. We put it in back in 2003. They were expanding. They wanted to upgrade the system. Well, if you looked at that as a job, that's a $20,000 phone system. At the end of the day, by the time we got done with it, it was over $150,000. So we did the nurse call, obviously the 9100. We bought a server for the CCTV system, and we're doing some non-NEC products, paging, access control, and cameras. And on that nurse call side, there is some great opportunities there. We've been doing nurse call forever. Now that NEC has introduced the Indigo Care to us, you should really look at that. It's a nice product, and there's a whole bunch of changes in the industry on how these hospitals, nursing homes, and that are funded. That goes back to reporting on the nurse call side. So there's some great opportunity there that you should really look at. So what advice could we tell you? Just like anything, adapt. You have to evolve, you have to adapt. The founder of our company always said to us that we're in the communication business. We're not in the phone system business, we're not in the nurse call business, we're in communication. We help people communicate. Whatever that method may be, you need to change, evolve, adapt, and get to that point. Reoccurring revenue, the UCAS models. We looked at things, our service contracts have gone down over the years on phone systems. People just aren't buying them. The hosted and the reoccurring revenue model has leveled that back out. And, maximize opportunities, just like I showed in that nurse call, that nursing facility. Use the products that we have. They'll be to your benefit. That should be it. Thank you.
All right. You mentioned the server storage piece. What were the battles or challenges that you were involved in moving into that space?
So our camera manufacturer actually changed their VMS system, their management system. In the old days, it was, not in the old days, but it was, you bought their hardware, their NVRs to run their cameras. About a year ago, they moved to a more open architecture base. So basically, you buy a camera, you buy a license, and sure, you can buy their servers, or you could bring your own servers. Just like everybody, they were evolving to meet the needs and desires of the industry. So that opened up a great opportunity for us because their servers were pretty expensive. And here we were able to use your servers. We just have one in the office that just came in not too long ago. It's 80 terabytes of storage for a small regional airport.
Right.
And so that's where we're going. Obviously, we're going to, instead of dipping our toes in, we'll take a deeper dip, but
Right.
that's where it started. It just started as a need for large capacity storage. You had the product. It was priced very well. And I'll tell you, we brought the stuff in, and the hardware it's exceptional.
So the barrier to entry wasn't that high as you thought it might be in transition?
No.
Perfect.
No.
All right. Great, George. Appreciate
Okay,
that.
thank you.
So our next partner is ServiceMark, and they have been involved with our product for 22 years, founded in 1995, and again an exclusive partner, Double Diamond, and the largest NEC telecom systems provider in Kansas City. So Bruce, their president, is going to tell us about their transition.
Thank you. George, thanks for going first. It's an honor to be here for a couple of reasons. First of all, this is a large group of people, and within this room is some of the most respected people within our industry, not just in the United States, but all over the world. And so it's an honor for that reason. And secondly, whenever you hear our story, at times in this business ownership journey, I've been motivated to read a lot of books. And I can honestly say that NEC Corporation is one of my most admired companies that I've ever even read about. So thank you for the partnership with NEC. So I'll pose the question, how did transformational change happen at ServiceMark? What happened? NEC had talked about laying a firm foundation. What happened years ago that laid a foundation for transformation in the last 4 to 5 years at ServiceMark? Is there evidence that transformational change actually happened, or maybe I shouldn't be here? And then what are some lessons that we've learned through the challenges over the years? The first one, and I already alluded to this, is I was motivated to read and study. Sometimes the motivation came whenever I was most uncomfortable. Good to Great by Jim Collins. If there was any book that stands out, that was my textbook for transformational change, and so that was one of them. Secondly, in preparation for this talk, Peggy Murphy had talked with me over the phone. Peggy had recalled the time that we first met, which was around 2004, 14, 15 years ago. And as she reflected on that, I asked Peggy, what was it that you remember about ServiceMark most way back 14 or 15 years ago? And like it was yesterday, Peggy said, I remember that project management was very important to you guys. Now, we had a long way to go, so we had a lot to learn, but it was a priority and it was important way back when. That became the driving force of some of the decisions that we made. And then finally, I'm just quoting Jim Collins, get the right people on the bus, the wrong people off the bus, and the right people in the right seats. I read Jim Collins' book back in 2005. I thought, well, that's a good idea. And didn't realize how hard that would be, didn't realize how time-consuming it would be. Around that time period, we also recognized we were an interconnect company. We're selling phone systems. The writing was on the wall that the computer and the telephone industry was going to converge. If we're going to survive, we better get some IT smart people that wanted to hang out with us, phone people. That took some time, but all those things were foundational to our transformational change. Evidence of transformation at ServiceMark, has it actually happened? I'll address project management. If you were to look at our planning documents, our training documents, some of the processes that we had when Peggy Murphy had recognized that, they look totally different today. So that's one way that we can recognize that we transformed something that was very important to us. Sometimes it's not just what we think of ourselves, but whenever we have colleagues, trusted people in the industry, a lot of people from NEC, that will notice that there's something that's maybe not typical of us and is our strong suit. That gives us the feedback that we need as well. Some of the other things I'm thinking about back in 2014, we did some with unified communications prior to the SV9100, but whenever the 9100 was introduced with version 1.0 software on UC, some of you remember that, we didn't wait to become comfortable. We embraced it right out of the starting gate. We used it in our daily operations. We honestly saw unified communications for our daily operations as a game changer the way that we do business. That has been something that our customers can also hear, that we actually use it. So today, it doesn't matter how small the customer is. They may have only had 6 employees. They still get to see UC. Next, couple of years ago, for our largest customer, we deployed UniVerge 3C for a customer with 70+ locations. That was time-consuming, that was costly for a small local company like ours. Today, adding additional locations for this customer almost looks like business as usual. There was a learning curve 2 years ago in that regard. And then finally, embracing NEC UniVerge Blue Cloud services where it fits. Here's how it started for us. We didn't abandon the premise-based systems. I like what was already said here at Advantage. This is not a revolution, this is an evolution. We didn't drop what's been successful for us and just quit selling premise. We got our feet wet with the smallest of customers, sometimes 4 phones or less. You got to learn somewhere. Why 4 phones or less? We wouldn't get in quite so much trouble during our learning curve. But then, a year ago at Advantage, we were so excited to find out that within UniVerge Blue Cloud, a high-end contact center was going to be added that was going to be able to displace some of our UCB customers. And I am pleased to report here a year later that we have a high-end contact center for an online sporting goods company that's doing phone calls, chats, and emails right now, and soon to be adding texting, and social media. 2 weeks after that one went live, we did a credit union, fairly large credit union with 10 locations. For their contact center, they've introduced multiple forms of communications within NEC Blue Cloud services with a high-end contact center. So those were some of the things that we've embraced, especially in recent years. Practical next steps, just based on our experiences, read and study books. For me, some of the best reading material just came from asking questions of people that I admired most. You already know that Good to Great is a good textbook for transformational change. Secondly, get the right people on the bus. I'll say this, transformational change has been more a result of having the right group of people, and I got to be a part of that group. It had less to do with a single leader at ServiceMark. And then finally, I would suggest adopt a crawl, walk, run philosophy with NEC Cloud if you haven't embraced cloud already. Start with small customers if that's where you want to start. Look for call center opportunities that require multiple forms of communications. If you're going to introduce more than phone calls, chats, emails, and all this other, it probably needs to live in the cloud. And then finally, something that we're excited about, cloud opportunities don't come every time for high-end contact centers, but SV9100 sales do. And so month in and month out, NEC SIP trunks is now a part of our regular offering here at ServiceMark. So anyway, thank you.
You mentioned the conversion or the cloud adoption. What percentage of your business do you see going 9100 Blue or Univerge Blue versus CP over the next, I don't know, 12 to 24 months?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see where this is going to go.
Right.
Because 3 years ago, I kind of went into this cloud thing kicking and screaming, and here I am talking about cloud because I've got my own experiences with premise-based equipment. I think we're going to be selling SV9100s or some sort of CPU in the back room for a long time. So we're not sure where this is going. So we knew that we needed to go ahead and get our feet wet. So it's hard to predict. My thinking is if it's a contact center and it's something more than phone calls, you want to introduce chat, email, social media, which is all coming. It probably needs to live in the cloud. From our experiences. The other exciting thing that I have, we can use the word hybrid a lot, but a hybrid approach with a CPU in the back room where the brains and the programming is, coupled with relying on telephone numbers and dial tone from NEC Blue services, cloud services, I see that becoming very commonplace. How long this migration will take, I can't predict that one.
Well, Bruce, that was great. I appreciate that. Our next partner is Matrix Communication. They've been founded in 1985, being a 33-year channel partner, double diamond status out of the Twin City area in Minnesota, and a one-stop system integrator. And I will pass the baton to Frank, and he can carry on.
Thank you, Don. So first I was ready to do this, and then Bruce said that there was a lot of people out there, but I was looking at the bright lights thinking that there wasn't a lot of people out there, so now I'm a little nervous. Thanks, Bruce.
There's nobody there.
There's nobody there. I would like to echo a couple comments Bruce made. The first is I was asked to come up here by Peggy and had no problem doing so, mostly because NEC is the best partner that we have of any of the manufacturers we work with. For as large as they are, for us to be able to pick up the phone and talk to them at any type of executive level is phenomenal. You try that with Cisco or some of the other partners out there that we work with, and you don't get that result. So first of all, thank you for having me up here. So transformation, I don't really know that I can say that we have done a transformation. I think what we've done is convinced our company that we're transforming and that we have to continue to transform. I think the biggest fallacy out there right now is that there's a finish line to the end of a race, and that's no longer the case. Our company started much like many of your companies. Charlie Eicher and Mike Ellis are two owners. They like to tell the story that they started down in the YWCA. They had a raised floor. Many of you know these guys, and they had the little plunger suction cups, and call would come in and go, hey, which tile is that phone under? And they, two employees is how they started. Well, we got a great name in the marketplace as a phone vendor. One of our challenges has been to get people to understand that we do more than phones. And many of our longtime customers that we've had for the length of time we've been in business, we ask them, well, who is Matrix to you? And their answer is, well, you're the phone guys. Even though over 60% of our revenue last year came from data sales. So trying to get people to change the perception is not just us changing what we do, what products we offer, what services we have, but it truly is the people, right? So as a company, voice application is really what we're known for in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. But IT services that I just mentioned represented over 60% of our business last, we're on a calendar year. We picked up facial recognition. You know, I flew over to Tokyo. I was fortunate enough, NEC brought me over there, and I was able to go to their expo. And it was interesting because almost half of that expo was based on that technology. It was based on unbelievable technology that they're using to actually look at the size of the head of a nut and facial recognition. If you saw General Mills just purchased a company out of Ireland that they're using facial recognition for cattle. So it's limitless what this technology can be used for, and NEC is #1 in the world. So we got a small window there to be able to get a technology where it's #1 in the world, embrace it, because it's one of those few technologies that came from outside of the U.S. into the U.S. and not from the U.S. out. And so that was one of the reasons that we picked that up. And then cloud services. You know, I can't jump on an airplane anymore and see some CIO that's not opening a book and talking about, well, what's our cloud strategy? Everything is cloud, even though cloud is just a server and somebody else's infrastructure, but it's still cloud. So those are really the areas that we focus on. Just a couple legitimate components that we did. We just won the second largest public school system in the state of Minnesota. It's approximately 10,000 IP phones. It spans over 68 schools, and that's on the NEC Univerge 3C. That's really the primary system that we focus on. And then we've migrated almost our entire SV8 XXX base over to U3C. You know, our process, you know, how did we go about this transforming? Again, not transformation, it's not an end. The first thing we had to do is, you know, I think we're all on the same boat. We've got a loyalty to our people, right? It's who makes us who we are, and it's who got us to where we're at today. We don't have a crystal ball, and unless the mirror is mistaken, I'm not retiring next year. So I've got to look out multiple years. So I got to look out 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. And I know that if I'm just installing hardware phone systems, I'm not going to be around. I'm going to be flipping burgers. So the biggest change that we had to make at our company is get everybody to understand that this is ever changing, right? I joke all the time. I've got a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 5-year-old. My 5-year-old knows how to work, and I'm pretty technical, but he knows how to work my iPad better than I know how to work my iPad. Sometimes I can't even get into it. My oldest daughter is getting my hand-me-down phone, which is an iPhone 8, and that's not good enough because she should have the iPhone 10, right? And so it's changing so rapidly that we've got to get our people to understand that you've got to embrace it. You've got to embrace the chaos. You've got to embrace the change because it's not going anywhere. If you can't embrace it, then this is probably not the right business for you to be in anymore. And some, you know, we've had some, you know, people that have left where we probably would have liked for them to have stayed. But we've done a lot of things internally to kind of change our culture. I started a summer internship program 2 years ago. So this is the second summer. We're bringing in my director of operations, who's out there somewhere. He's bringing in people right out of the tech schools. So he goes out to the seminars, and we have a booth, and we invite them in. We bring 1, 2, or 3 summer interns in, and they have all IT background. And now we've got 3 months to watch how they do, watch how they embrace it, how can we cross-train them. And basically, it's a 3-month job interview. And at the end of the 3 months, if they do a good job, we bring them on board. We brought 4 new technicians on just this year. We did the same with sales team. I reached out to my alma mater, and they helped place a gentleman that was there as a summer intern last summer, and his roommate was graduating in December. He liked it so much that we just hired his roommate as a full-time person. So what we're doing is we're trying to change the skill set, trying to get people in who are using the technology that we're trying to sell to all the time. and it's working. Right now, we are having the best sales year of our 33-year company history. So something seems to be working okay. And from an operational efficiency, the other component we had to do is, again, we're trying to change who we are as a company. So we were 80% staffed for voice, even though 60% of our revenue is coming from data. We were so lopsided that we had to change that around. So what we're doing is we're doing a lot of cross-training, and we've reduced the number of phone systems that we were selling. We were doing, Avaya systems, we were doing all the NEC systems, and so we've really consolidated and collapsed that down so that we're focused on one system, the U3C, and obviously we're keeping staff to support all of our legacy stuff, but we've completely eliminated Avaya. So that's freed up a lot of knowledge. So every one of my technicians is now certified on 3C across the board. And that goes for my data guys and my voice guys. So we've really changed how we're going to market on that. And then new customers. We have deployed every bit of technology that we sell in our office. We run our NEC U3C and all of our virtual servers on a fault-tolerant server sitting in our front office. So when people come in, that's what they're going to see. We use the U3C. We use all the remote apps. We use all the desktop apps. I don't want to share all the secrets in the sauce, but my engineer who's here can make that system demo in ways that I've never seen before. And there's not a customer that leaves our site when we bring them in for a demo that doesn't say, I haven't seen that done on any other phone system. So we make sure we use all the technology. So he does a very good job of that. So that's kind of the process that we've gone through. And then the lessons learned, just to kind of finish up, is just, again, as I said at the beginning, there's no finish line. We just always have to be evolving. I don't know about you, but if you're in a market where people are calling you saying, I want to spend more money on my phone system maintenance, please let me know where that is, because I'd like to open an office there. Because nobody's asking to spend more money anymore on voice systems, so we got to find ways to wrap other services around that. And then new focus points. Find a different technology to change the conversation. A bunch of people in my office said, gosh, we should really get in and just sell servers. And we sell servers when it comes to applications, but there's probably 50 companies in the metro area that sell services and have been doing it for a long time. But why not change the conversation? And we've done that. I've got several pilots going right now with some very name-recognizable organizations up in Minnesota and outside of Minnesota on the facial recognition. And if we can get on the ground floor of that, that could be a business changer that we've not seen for quite some time. And rather than just being a me too, we could be the person that when somebody says, I want to see that technology because I just saw it in the airport, oh yeah, Matrix does that. So try to find something that's a little bit different than what you're used to doing. That's all I've got.
So have you been thinking about the integration of biometrics or facial recognition with the 3C, considering your expertise as far as integrating voice notification and others solutions, or mostly focused on the facial recognition component?
No, I absolutely see the integration between the two as being something that, again, I think it's a differentiator in the marketplace. Right. A lot of those customers on the enterprise level, they're going to be looking for those same things. It'll just be a topic I'll have to pull Ram aside for and tell him we got to get done.
He's out back. Okay. So where do you think your organization would be, I guess, revenue-wise or organizationally speaking, if you hadn't made the moves that you made a number of years ago?
That's an interesting question, Don. Honestly, I don't know that we'd be having the best sales year of our company history right now, but I think we'd be having a good sales year. I think what we're trying to do is position ourselves. We've got great salespeople, we've got great tenure, we've got a great operations team, but I think what we're trying to do is position ourselves not for just today, but what does this look like 2 years from now? What's that recurring revenue look like for then? So the cloud stuff that we're doing right now, our hosted deployments that we're doing right now, associated with voice and wrapping all of that together is what we're positioning for ourselves. So I think the brightness of the next couple years looks really good.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Frank. So our next partner, Magna 5, is an amalgamation of a number of companies, and they were founded in 2001 and a partner since 2011, and they're sort of coming from the other side of the IT world, moving into the UC world. And our next speaker is Justin, and he is going to talk us through their organization and how they've been working the transformation the other way.
Hey guys. So this time last year I was with NetServe 365, and really, as mentioned, we were founded in 2001 purely as an IT services company, where we focused on managed services, evolved into cloud, data backup, more higher tier IT services. And as mentioned, we've been an NEC partner since 2011, which when I saw that I was like, all right, 7 years, that's pretty cool. And then I saw Larry's slide and completely took the wind right out of my sails. So I appreciate for the reminder we still have 35 years to go. We've also been a NEC Infrastructure as a Service partner since 2014. Is that if you've probably heard the message about NEC and Iron Mountain, we were actually the first customer to go into there to start to leverage their infrastructure as a service to build more value-add services on top of it. But also since then, last year, is that we were acquired by Magna 5. And a little different story there, where we essentially are following Paul's playbook for how to transform from a telecom company to more of a full stack of services. And Magna 5 really, it was 3 companies joined together. There was a company in the Northwest that had a SLED focus and big healthcare focus. We had a company in the Southwest that was focused on the enterprise space, and then a company in the Northeast that was really focused on the SMB space. And as we all know, all 3 of those entities have very different client bases and very different client needs. So we're kind of working in reverse, is that we're looking at our IT services platform and thinking, all right, how do we take this back into our telecommunications customers? We've got 7,000 customers scattered across the country with different needs, and frankly, we know a lot of them are probably buying IT services from someone else. So how do we craft and shape our services to be able to appeal to the different markets that are out there? And I think that's applicable for everyone that's here, is that look at who your clients are. Ask them what their needs are. Ask them what really they feel like they'll spend money on this year. And part of our message is really try and expand that conversation with our traditional telecom and connectivity clients. And we can all thank the news media for scaring everyone every day, talking about cybersecurity and data backup and disaster recovery. And I can tell you, those are the things that open doors. Those are the things that get us appointments with our existing customers. We really tout that message of going to the cloud, going to the data center, but also how we can tie that in with traditional voice and data services. And when I started looking at this when we got acquired was, all right, how do we start to transition ourselves? How do we focus on higher margin business? And a lot of us know that there's a lot of margin compression going on in the industry. Also on the telecom side, where we see the Ring Centrals, the 8x8s that are out there, but also on the IT side. We look at Azure and AWS and Office 365. On the IT side, gone are the days of selling Exchange Server and replacing equipment every couple of years. Is that now they can go to Office 365 for significantly cheaper than we could even consider offering. And also we're looking at the voice side of things, as we hear a lot about the over-the-top promises. You see the Ring Centrals, the 8x8s, is that, yeah, we can come in over the top, yeah, voice quality will be good, but I don't know if anyone saw is that they just approved AT&T's acquisition of Time Warner, and we now have the change of net neutrality. So I foresee on the future that we're going to start having to pay more to access hosted voice services, hosted cloud type systems, is that there could be a significant change with how services are delivered over the top. And I think that's very applicable to what these guys are saying, is that, you know, there still is that need for on-premise, because people still need that quality of service. And then also you have the IT vendors dipping into the voice side. I mean, I was guilty of it. I thought, this is voice. There's only 2 wires until a couple of years ago. It can't be that hard. And as I've learned more about the voice, I've realized there's more acronyms in telecom than there is in IT. So it's significantly different. But the reality is that a lot of customers are probably working with an IT vendor that might be introducing someone like CoreDial to them. Say, hey, we can replace your phone system and bring you a cloud-based system, and it'll solve all of your problems and take care of it and work well. Well, realistically, we need to try and block those people out. And then also we have large carriers. You know, they're selling the UC in their cloud. And realistically, they own the circuits, they own the path to the customer, and they could be selling, you know, the Mitel or ShoreTel systems that are out there, and we have to try and fend those off, but we have to be aware of that competition that's out there. And that's where we've kind of looked at all of the challenges and different changes that are going on in the industry and tried to bundle our services to build more value-add services. So if someone's buying a circuit or UC, that we're layering in data backup services or cybersecurity or more cloud services to try and build on what we're doing for that client and try and make us stickier to the client. And talking about how we've worked with NEC over the years is that, frankly, we leverage the NEC brand. When we're doing our marketing material for our data backup and cloud services, you see the Magna 5 logo, you see the NEC logo, because NEC is a recognizable and known brand that we really like to tout that, hey, we're working with some of the best vendors out there, working with some of the best technology out there. And we look at the infrastructure as a service model where we've partnered with NEC to have equipment inside of Iron Mountain and leverage their infrastructure stack. It's allowed us to focus less on the hardware and focus more on delivering high-value services on top of that. For example, we've launched a Commvault data backup service where NEC has been a fantastic partner for us that we've scaled to over 1 petabyte of data that we're protecting with customers. And working with NEC has allowed us to deliver storage and deliver it as a service that's frankly cost competitive with the AWSs and the Microsofts of the world. It's also allowed us to expand our virtual hosting platform, our virtual cloud platform, and we've also done more with SAP HANA. And one of the unique things there is that some of these application vendors like SAP, or you might see financial systems, is that they're now saying, hey, we provide you the application, why don't you let us provide the hosted servers or the IT services on top of that? So we've then partnered with NEC to expand the SAP offering because we know that segues into additional businesses. And then as we continue to grow and expand is that we're exploring new avenues like NeoFace and some of the other newer advanced technologies that are coming out there because realistically there's not a ton of players that are out there. So again, I'd like to thank you for your time.
Sounds like you've been spending some quality time with our friend Mike Mitch, is that right? Yeah. So once again, you guys, I'd like to thank George, Bruce, and Frank, and Justin. A round of applause for these guys. They really did a nice job for us.